All right, well, if you guys have ever struggled to measure a site, know how long it's gonna take you to do the lawn or the snow, get accurate measurements, and put those into a pricing calculator or a formula to help you guys come up with your pricing accurately. Folks, we've all been there, and that is one of the biggest struggles with running a lawn and landscaping business. And today I want to talk to you guys about Attentive AI and how it can help with all the above and eliminate so many bottlenecks in our lawn and landscaping businesses. So long story short, just really quick, sponsored content. We do have a new partnership with Attentive AI. Promo code Brian50 will save you 50% off your membership, which does cost a couple of $100 to enroll into Attentive. And then of course it's pay to play for each takeoff that you do. Now, what I want to do here on this video today is break it down into a couple of quick parts. Number one, I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about what Attentive is. Number two, show you an under the hood look at our Attentive account and talk to you about all the different site measurements and takeoffs that we actually have done. And then I'm just going to show you a quick under the hood look about what we do with those numbers and how we implement and integrate those into LMM. So if you got a quick 10 minutes here today, I'm going to show you a tool that I believe could be an absolute game changer for your business. Now let's take it from the top here really quick. Attentive AI, they have a product called AutoMeasure, and AutoMeasure is what a lot of the big guys use to get their takeoffs and their site measurements for their commercial and residential sites. I didn't even know this existed, to be completely honest with you, until about 5 or 6 months ago. I was talking to a peer in the industry at Grow Conference, which that's a good reason why you go to conferences and try to network with as many great big dog guests and folks that you can. And I was talking to him and he said, yeah, we take all of our measurements off with an Attentive AI platform. We get all of our site measurements, then we plug all those into LMN. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, slow down. I said, hold on, what are you talking about here, okay? I wanna know more. So he turned me on to Attentive. I got on the phone with one of their sales folks. He had the, the whole song and dance, and he was giving me the pitch. And I said, listen, I don't even want the pitch. I'm hooking up with you guys. I'm signing up. I'm ready to rock and roll. Paid full retail, obviously, for the membership. Was ready to go. In fact, when you guys signed up not too long after, they had a promo going on. I didn't even care. I came back from Grow, fired up and ready to go. All right, so here's how it works. You get your annual membership with Attentive, and then you have to pay for a takeoff on the platform for every commercial site that you want. So let's say you've got a bid that comes into your email box and you're ready to bid, for the lawn, you're ready to bid the snow, but you're like, dude, I don't have all the time in the world to be chasing down every site, bidding 100 commercial sites every single day, burning up gas money, doing the whole deal. You're like, I know that business, I know that building. It's a very standard commercial site. I just need to know, how big are the mulch beds? How big is the turf? How big is the parking lot and the parking lanes? So I can bid lawn and snow, right? So what you do is as soon as that submission form comes in, you grab that commercial contact, you say, hey, yes, long story short, of course, we're interested, right? What are you guys looking for? What are we looking for? And what I personally do is immediately already order the takeoff. They're between $2 to $5 maybe for a residential, 10 to $40, let's say, for a commercial. It's gonna vary with how big the site is and how intricate the request is for that takeoff. But what I do is I immediately get that takeoff ordered. And again, whether or not that commercial site signs up, I'm gonna make sure that I bid on that site probably for the next 5 or 10 years until I get it. So for me, I have no problem making the investment as we're in a huge growth mode. From there, Attentive is gonna take, between 2 to 24 hours. This again depends on the site, depends on how intricate it is. And they're gonna use AI and their folks to measure out all the sidewalks, all the mulch beds, all the turf beds, all the gravel or rock beds, all of the hard edge, all the soft edge, all the mowable turf, all the plowable parking lots, all the sidewalks that we're gonna need for sidewalk shoveling, so on and so forth, right? Like, holy freaking cow. I wondered for the longest time, and again, I don't know if you guys can relate, but I wondered for the longest time, like, how do you actually measure a site? Like, and I was using like all the different CRMs and using the little mapping tool and using Google Earth and doing the whole deal and dropping pins, and then I would go through and I'd click the wrong thing and the whole pin would delete, and I'm over here like click, 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 trying to get the site measured up. And then I would maybe get the right amount of turf, and it would be like 0.6 acres here and 0.24 here and 0.5 there, and I'm doing measurements, and that sounds great until you have a site with 25 different islands, 16 different boulevards, and an apartment complex with 4 different parks, and it was a pain in the butt. And here I am spending 2 hours mapping it around with my little mouse at 10 o'clock at night, just pulling my hair out, right? Or even worse, going on site and individually measuring every single mulch bed and going, yeah, I think that's 3, I think that's 2, I think that's about 4 yards, and yeah, sure, 12 yards at $125 a yard installed, right? One of those deals. Guessing, no accuracy on anything that we're doing. Now again, no pitch here for Attentive other than, folks, I'm genuinely freaking excited about this partnership to help you guys save some money, so you guys can make some money with your new commercial bids, whether lawn or snow. So that's the whole ball of wax. This is where folks get the measurements for lawn. This is where folks get the measurements for mulch beds. This is where folks get the measurements for their snow parking lots. And then once you have those measurements, you're gonna take them into hopefully your CRM like an LMM, and you're gonna be able to put those into your production rates, and then your production rate calculator spits out how much time, and then that time is what we're gonna be charging for our price for our labor, plus the associated equipment to do it. If you remember the pricing video we did just a couple of weeks ago, I'll make sure to leave a card here, you can check that out. But that's the whole formula right there. So a lot of you guys saw the most recent videos where I talked about pricing and how it was so instrumental for me to discover Attentive AI, because it finally helped with one of the biggest missing links, which was my measurements, right? Accurate measurements of the site. Now, all things being said, of course you wanna go make sure you visit the site, trust but verify, that whole deal. Great example is we bid a huge commercial site. It was about a $9,000 to $12,000 lawn account. It's about the same thing for snow. And one of the things is I'm really glad that I did a horseshoe through that site, brand new construction. And one of the slopes, one of the side boulevards is on like a 20 or 30 degree grade. Now it was a pretty good chunk of turf. And so I had to call up the manager and say, hey, although this is turf and mowable, we need to have a discussion about, well, it wasn't mobile, it was a slope, so we had to trim it down, right? And so I said, hey, this is gonna reflect the price a little bit different than me taking my 72s up and down for 6 or 7 extra lanes versus having, you know, a 15-foot wide by 200-foot drag on a 20 or 30 degree grade that's gonna have to get trimmed down. You know what he said? Hey, it's not that big of a deal. It actually separates the adjacent property and business. Let's not include that part of the mobile turf, which, by the way, if he wanted it trimmed down, would have been a different price. If he wanted it excluded, would have been a different price. But you gotta make sure that you're bidding and pricing accurately. And these are all those micro variables that I was talking to you guys about on the pricing video on how to price a lawn just a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully you enjoyed the under the hood look. I'm trying to keep this video as compact and tight as possible, but I'm telling you what, Attentive is where it's at. I'm very, very excited about that. It is an investment up front. You do have to get a membership. It does cost money for each takeoff that you do, but again, you know, buy back your time, be as lean as possible. Don't drive around looking at 5 commercial bids all day long. Order your takeoffs, then maybe zip through just to verify, but save yourself 4 hours from driving around all over God's country and God's creation, getting all these bids and quotes done. Let their team and let their AI software go to work for you. If you have any questions on the platform, holler. I'm always here to help you guys out. If you have any questions about how the actual program works, book a demo, talk to their team. They've got some fantastic folks there that I know want to have a conversation with you, to help you sign up, to help build a bridge with you, to help empower you guys to have those accurate measurements and numbers so you guys can build and grow your business with confidence. We've been really trying to champion the whole, know your numbers and how to price the lawn effectively conversation on our channel the last couple of weeks and months, and of course on the podcast. This is how you do it. This was one of the biggest enigmas that I had in my business, and I can't believe that it was such a simple tool and such a simple resource, and just 1 or 2 conversations away from unlocking so much potential in our business. And I'm not just saying that. One quick thing I'll say, holy cow, strike while the iron is hot. What a perfect time to sign up with Attentive, not only with the promo code Brian50, save a couple of bucks, yeah, that's great, but holy cow, we're doing all of our snow contracts and snow proposals over the next couple of weeks and months, just like I know a lot of you guys are. If you're really struggling to dial in your snow pricing and how long it's gonna take you to do, how much square footage of asphalt and parking lot, get those measurements, plug them into your man-hour rate calculator, plug them into the Know Your Numbers calculator, plug them into LMN, shoot me an email. I will help you out the best I can, right? But what an opportunity we have right now with snow season right upon us to be able to take those measurements accurately and get folks the best pricing we can for snow so you guys can go out there and win those bids. All right, obviously I have a pretty heavy emphasis and use on it for commercial. I know you can, and a lot of guys do use it for residential. We talk about it all the time in our link membership. Dozens of folks have already been turned on to it from there. You guys saw me when I was at my daughter's gymnastics class a couple of months back, and I flashed just my laptop screen for 2 seconds and showed how I was doing one of my new commercial bids for a large apartment complex, and I probably had about 60 DMs asking, hey, what the heck is that? How'd you get those numbers? Where'd you get those measurements? What is this? Is that LMN? I said, no. This is what you get before you punch it into LMN. This is Attentive. This is the future. Guys, check it out. Love you, appreciate it. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. All right, I'm gonna be done standing in the parking lot. My pizza's ready. I gotta get out of here. All right, over and out. Attentive, thank you for the partnership. Guys, codes and links in the description. Thanks for the love, thanks for the support. If you have any questions, let me know. But I encourage you guys, use the links down below. Book a time to get on those folks' calendars. Book a demo, see if it makes sense for you, and check out Attentive AI. Over and out, guys. Love you. Have a great day. We'll catch up with you on the next one.